Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Last Raider. We are back with another video. And what can I say? What can I say? This is what happens when you have smooth-brained morons who believe capitalism is evil and communism is the best way to go. Who believe that there is only a limited amount of wealth to go around and don't understand the concept of growing wealth. When they end up having to deal with some serious competition. Mind you, most of these people are really bad at their jobs. Comic books now is not based on who has the most talent. It is based on who has the right skin color, who has the right genitalia, and who has the right sexual preference. Excuse me. Forgive me for the coughs and stuff. I am suffering from a sinus infection. It happens every year. I am fine. That's why I sound so freaking sexy right now. Just, I have that nice Victor voice from whatever that soap opera is. Anyway. So we got Stephanie Cook here, who apparently has done a book called Oh My Gods, and I don't even know what it is. Don't really care what it is. I've heard that she's apparently part of some book about two girls getting together because of some bicycling thing. I could care less because I'm not. Because here's the thing. If I want to deal with lesbians, if I want to look at lesbian stuff, I normally would just go to Pornhub because it's a lot more entertaining on Pornhub. Just saying. At least Pornhub knows how to do lesbians right. That was a pun, by the way. Anywho, Stephanie Cook, Power Rangers, has a net worth of $522 million. You do not need Kickstarter. Yeah, you're right. You, Stephanie, also do not need a car. You do not need the internet. You do not need to have television. You do not need a smartphone. You could deal with just a flip phone if they still sell them. There's a lot of things that you don't need that you like to have. As far as Power Rangers is going, Boom Comics apparently has decided to jump into the Kickstarter stream. Now, that's not the first time they've done this. They did this with Keanu Reeves' Berserker, which looked amazing. I really wish I'd had the money to get a hold of that, but unfortunately I didn't have the cash at the time. So, I mean, you've got basically a large franchise such as Power Rangers, which, like I said, this is a franchise that has a huge following, and from what I understand, what they're getting here is just an anthology of the books they've already put out. Yellow Flash was talking about it, and according to him, this is just like a super rare collector's edition anthology of all the comics that they have put in there. It's like $500 for the complete set, and this is not including, I think there's like $1,000 one that gives you like a display that comes with it, which I thought was really cool. I don't have the money for all this, otherwise I'd buy the crap out of it. But anyway, continuing on here. Honestly, I don't see what the problem here with Boom is. It's the same thing with Keanu Reeves, I said before. Kickstarter has very, very low risk. Crowdfunding in general has a very low risk and somewhat of a high reward. Your money to work on your project is being introduced, and anything extra, like, you only need so much to make the book. Afterward, it's just printing. And then that, once you get past the initial hurdle of the artist, the letterer, the inker, the colorist, writing the story, and then finding a printer to print off, then it's just printing so many books. And then when you get to that point, you get from this big initial cost. Once you cross that big initial cost, every book you produce afterward is just profit, because they're significantly cheaper because you've already got the product itself. You're just cloning it. You're just multiplying it. So it makes sense for a company to do this, because if they can get the money to do initial startup costs, they can put any kind of project they want out here onto Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and they'll be able to make the money that they need to get the project started. Plus, they'll also get their profit in at the same time. It's a very, very low risk, very high reward system that's going on, and I think it's where comics are eventually going to go. Now, unfortunately, Stephanie Cook here is going to lose her ever-loving mind. And might I say this, if you've gotten this far in the video, do not contact this woman, because she's already shown how much of a weak-willed, well, I'll try to be nice this time around. She's already shown how weak-willed she is because apparently the way I found out about this and started doing research into this chick was I got to looking through and there was a response to a tweet and I ended up being blocked to the tweet and I was like, who is this woman? I've never seen this chick in my life. Yes, she finally got tired of dealing with people making videos about it and thought, well, if I use a block bot, that's going to stop everyone. She has implemented a block bot now, but let's continue on here. Let's hear her reasoning for all this stuff. And even though this is a boom project, it's still a licensed Power Ranger thing. It should not be crowdfunded. Again, like I said, crowdfunding has very low risk, high reward. I mean, business-wise, it makes sense. Okay? The less risk you can have in a product, and the more higher reward you can have in the product, the more you can offset that to where your risk is really low and your reward's really high, that is good business sense. Again, this is a probably wannabe communist who's enjoying capitalism right now, who wants to just be paid to exist, pitching a fit about a company playing the game. The game is capitalism, Stephanie. Learn to play it or get squashed by it. It's very simple. But continuing on. I'm sure this has already made the rounds, and I know Boom took heat for a Keanu Reeves comic too. Done talked about that. But I only just saw that they are doing this now with Power Rangers, and I'm so mad. Why? Why are you mad? Do you think that this is what's causing the problems with your book? Because I guarantee, if you are who I think you are, in other words, political leaning, you're probably one of these idiots that's got some kind of weird ass book going out there with all the social justice crap that has not been selling. Okay? DC's in the shitter for their social justice crap. Marvel is facing a bloodbath right in the face. They're facing mass firings right now because of their wokeism. Netflix has gone woke. Disney Plus has gone woke, except for The Mandalorian's about the only thing worth watching and the classic stuff that they've got. HBO is going woke. All these companies are going woke. Star Wars has gone woke. Star Trek has gone woke. Star Wars has gone woke, but The Mandalorian is now trying to fight back. They're in the middle of a frickin' civil war going on right now at Lucasfilm because you've got the one group of people who respect the fans and the audience and another group of people that want to tell the audience to fuck off. Which is probably what you've told people to do. Because usually the MO of some of these people that are on here, the MO of most SJW comic creators and SJW creators in general is, oh hey, if you don't like it, I would prefer you not buy it. Okay, I don't need to be told not to buy something I don't want. I'll take my money somewhere else. I'll take my money to Power Rangers. See how this works? You're mad because you're mad because you think these people are stealing from you. They're not. They are simply going out there and putting out a product and saying, hey, who would be interested in this? If we get enough people involved, we'll be able to cover this entire product. Turns out they're making over $500,000 right now. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, here's Stephanie Cook right now. We're going to Crackonomics. When is Kickstarter going to make a policy so that big corporations and companies aren't allowed to crowdfund on their platform? This is directly taking away from indie creators that actually need it. Okay, let me put the phone down for a second because I'm going to need both hands to do this. You cannot compete with these people. You are afraid that they are taking money from you. And so instead of doing the honest thing and making a product that can compete, you are now turning around and saying they should be shut down. They should be excluded from the indie market. They should be excluded from crowdfunding because you don't think they need it. Why shouldn't they? This is only going to benefit Kickstarter. And here's another thing. Kickstarter, from what I understand, they provide suggestions. All the people, all these major diehard fans that are looking at Power Rangers may also look at other products. I saw one video they were talking about. I think it was Yellow Flash was talking about it, and they had Common America on there, which is right about in the same category as Power Rangers is. I'm not saying your shit shouldn't exist. What I'm saying is your shit probably doesn't sell because the fans don't exist. That's all I'm saying. But for you to come in here like some coke dealer on the street when he's actually faced with someone who has superior drugs, and you turn around and decide we got to drive by them. That's not business. That's a gang. That's more of a fascist mentality. I hate to use that word, but that is the truth. It is more of a fascist mentality. If you can't compete with someone, you want to shut them down by force. Make something better. Stephanie Cook again. No one is saying that more Power Rangers content shouldn't exist. What is being said is that a multi-million-dollar franchise and a publisher, which has Disney/Fox stakeholders, shouldn't be using a crowdfunding platform where they overshadow indie creators using it to make a living. Again, here's the thing. I've said that Indiegogo and Kickstarter have both, they provide suggestions for books. But let me explain to Stephanie right now how crowdfunding works. I've never used it, but I've studied up enough of it. I know how this business model works. Kickstarter, Indiegogo, crowdfunding sites in general, provides a centralized location with a potential customer base. A potential customer base that is interested in putting money towards your product. Now, the way Kickstarter and them all make money is they take a percentage of the money that you are given from that product, and they make money. All they're doing is just hosting your product. That is it. Indiegogo, Kickstarter, both are going to make money off of the project, just as the person who's making the project. They're taking a tiny amount of the money and putting it on themselves while having a hosting service. That's what they're providing. Now, that being said, Kickstarter is going to make more money if they push more products. So anyone who goes in there, that's why I said that's why you're sitting here saying this is taken away from people. No, it's not. Because Kickstarter is going to use the Power Rangers franchise that's on their site to try and promote these other creators so that they can get more money brought into the site and thus take more percentage. In other words, they're going to use this $100 project to make to try and get 3 or 4 more $100 projects, and say they take 10% off of it. Well, instead of getting $1 for every one of them, instead of getting $1, they're going to end up they're trying to make it into $4 by suggesting other products. The entire point of Kickstarter is to get people to fund projects. The only problem here, Stephanie, appears to be you. I don't hear Pell Creepy throwing a fit about this. I don't hear Ethan Van Sciver pitching a fit about this. I don't hear Richard Myers pitching a fit about this. I don't hear Raging Golden Eagle pitching a fit about this. I don't hear John Malin pitching a fit about this. Do you know why? Because those guys know their products, despite not having a corporate backing, despite not having the Power Rangers franchise name, they know that their products will sell because their shit is good. As I said, this sounds like a personal problem that you are projecting onto Kickstarter. Learn to take responsibility for your own shortcomings. Learn from them, and then advance. Moving on. I am muting this thread now. Apparently you got sick and tired of getting your butt kicked. Because now, like I said, I've also been block-botted by this woman, and that's how I ended up over here. The Streisand effect, you do not understand the power of the Streisand effect, darling. Continuing on. Ant. This just feels like a real abuse of the Kickstarter system, honestly. Like, imagine how many smaller projects are just being obscured by this titan. Again, Kickstarter is going to suggest this, and Kickstarter makes money by promoting indie products. They are going to use this to promote other books, more obscure artists. Pell Creepy is one of them, and I only know him from his one name. I bought both My Hero Academias. And I bought both the current issues of Common America. I got the Hollow edition, by the way. Those were, oh man, those books are nice. Just, it's wonderful having decent superheroes for once in life. I didn't realize how much I would miss tits and ass and good story writing. Tits and ass and definitely good story writing. But, like I said, you saying that this is obscuring it, no. It's because y'all's products suck and you're blaming someone else for it. You're so desperate. You're so mad that your products don't sell because you probably have a shit story, you probably have shit artists, and you probably have shit writers. You'll make a better product. Get some better writers. I've stated this before. I could get a comic to sell if I had a good story with it and I had J. Scott Campbell as the artist. You're talking $1 million deal right there. Automatically. Most people can't believe that, but that's truth. If I could afford J. Scott Campbell, that would be a multi-million-dollar deal just with the artist. If I can just get a cover from him, that would still make probably still bring the cover itself probably bring him $500,000. Because there are people out there that will buy J. Scott Campbell stuff. Is that wrong for me to use J. Scott Campbell's art? Would that mean that if I use J. Scott Campbell's art, would that mean that I am overshadowing other products by using J. Scott Campbell? Because everybody, there are people out there that just will buy a book just because J. Scott Campbell has put his art on the cover. He has that much of a following in the comic industry. He has that many fans. By the way, I have one of the large. I've got the Danger Girl series, not the floppies. I've got one of the large magazines. Bought it a while back. Wonderful. My wife actually read through it and she said, "Wow, this is really good." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "This is 90s. Welcome to the 90s, babe." She's like, "Yep, this is 90s, all right." Continuing on. Meanwhile, there are creators deciding if they can skip a meal or three to pay for another page of art. What? What can be shifted from printing rate and wiggle room? Okay, I don't know who CJ is, but let me explain something. The way crowdfunding works is they give you all the money to start your product. Like I said, you get past that initial hurdle of all the money you need to start your product with, and then anything after that is just pure profit. What the hell are you buying that you can't afford food all of a sudden? And also, like I said, if your product is good enough, people are going to throw enough money, you'll get past that initial hurdle, you'll have the money. Once the campaign's over, that's when people start building up the book. There are some people, I believe Common America is one of them that does this, where they already have all the art done for the book. They just put out there, hey, we've got all the art done, buy this. It runs through and runs pretty quickly. Of course, they have the benefit of having an entire, I believe, Pale Creepy and Jim Zub, I believe, is the ones who run Common America. They have the benefit of having their own mini, crap, the word has just escaped me. I want to say printing, but that's not the right word. They have the benefit of their own studio. Okay, they've got experience in it, shoving out comics on a regular basis. So as long as there's money to be made, they're going to keep putting them out there. Most people, however, they start their projects after their campaign is done. So when you've got your money, this is a moot point. But then again, probably these people have sat back and told other people, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. That sounds like it's a bold strategy. I mean, we see how it's working for you. Evan Marin. While I totally agree that a big brand like Power Rangers shouldn't need to do this, I think it's probably because the editions they're kickstarting here are so expensive. They probably wouldn't have a good idea of demand for these otherwise. I don't know. Which is honestly a good point because, like I said, Kickstarter allows you to go in there, test the market, and also make money while you're testing the market. It has very little risk and very high reward. Now we get this blue-haired weirdo Renfamous, which, by the way, I'm going to take a stab at Renfamous. Your freaking brown shirt character you've got going on there, which looks like a Nazi, does not reflect your level of weight gain that you have right now. Okay, Rennie, baby? All right. Anyway, Infamous. They'd have a good idea if they opened pre-orders on their website, LOL. Why? How much traffic do you think their website gets in comparison to Kickstarter? If Kickstarter has more traffic, you go where the traffic is. You go where the people are. You don't put a big box, you don't put like a grocery store out in the middle of the desert. You try to put your store in the middle of a city because there's lots of people and they'll go to your little store, they'll buy your products. What you have here is a bunch of weirdos on the internet and weirdo comic people who don't understand, don't know what they're doing. And they have not had to seriously work in an industry. You're right now, these are people who were brought into an industry not based on merit or talent. They were brought in based on gender. They were brought in based on their skin color and what was between their legs. That is it. It's amazing to me that the very same group of people that bitch about women being objectified and only being cared about by companies because they have tits and a vagina are getting hired by a company because they have tits and a vagina. Perhaps if you were hired on merit, you would actually have the skills to do this and actually have the skills to make the money off of it. Just saying. But to sit back here and tell other companies that, no, you're hurting us by putting your product on here, when reality, you probably don't have very good... you know what? Fuck it. Let's go on here for a minute. Okay. Oh, well, here we are. So this is what you're pushing. Alright, apparently some Tumblr-esque bullcrap with a whole bunch of weirdo chicks from all over the place. This is what you're pushing. You couldn't get a better artist. You couldn't get something more dynamic. And you think this is better than Power Rangers? I'm not saying it shouldn't exist. I'm just saying I don't think the fandom exists. I don't think your customers exist as much, or at least not as many of your customers exist as you think. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, folks, tell me what you think in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay frosty. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye now.